So in the last 3 years, I built a £20 million business, and it's been part-time, and it's been casual and cool, calm, collected, no dramas. But that's because it's like my 3rd, 4th time through. So I know what suppliers to use, and I know who to hire, and in what order, and how to onboard them, and what assets are needed, and how much to spend on that asset, and I can afford good people to come on board. Whereas the first time through, you have to do everything with the wrong people. You know, your first business that you scale has to be built based on people who don't know what they're doing. Because no one trusts you as a safe pair of hands to join a team. No one from Microsoft is going to quit their job and join a shitty startup.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. And, you know, something that's been on my mind a lot is, you know, by the 4th or 5th time, like you've just said, will this become a lot easier? And I noticed when building the second business, because this currently is my second business, that I was able to move the chess pieces much faster. And then, you know, by 3, 4, 5 times, again, hopefully it comes a lot quicker. But there's a huge amount of effort and energy that needs to go into kickstarting a business, isn't there? And I think, you know, having the appetite to put that amount of effort and energy in is only for, you know, the few amongst us that are willing to put that time in, going into the unknown, or as Elon Musk says, staring into the abyss and eating glass and, you know, hoping that it's going to work out.
Yeah. And the other one to not underestimate is 2nd time, 3rd time through, you can very easily raise money. If you want it, and you can raise money at a high valuation. So you don't dilute massive amounts of equity on day one. You can actually raise, you know, if you want $500,000 or $1 million worth of outside capital, it's very easy and cheap to get.
So now with the experience that you've got, would you try and bootstrap the business to start it, or any company that you go in, would you go and raise the finance first, put the right team in place, then go at it, or would you build a team along the way? Because I think the first 1 or 2, you're doing it the first way I've described.
Yeah, now, if you've got a brand and a reputation, and you've got a network and all that sort of stuff, so I would say you start with an MVP, minimum viable product, to test whether your idea is valid. So, you know, you build something and you pick up the phone and make some sales, and you see, like for example, with ScoreApp, we knew we were going to build technology, and we knew the technology would scale, but we knew that technology would cost like £500,000 to build. So what I was doing in the early days is I would basically I would pick up the phone and talk to some potential customers, and I'd get them to sign up for a £700 setup fee and £50 a month subscription. And then I would go off and build the product on WordPress, or with my team, we'd build the product on WordPress at a cost of about $6,000 or $7,000. So they were getting, they didn't know it, but they were getting effectively a £5,000 discount. But what we were doing is we were proving that people would pay that setup fee and pay that subscription. And we were just building, so we built like 10 of these things where we charged massively undercharged, but for the purpose of showing that would actually work, and that design and that product would actually work. And then as soon as we had that proof of concept, we could construct a financial model. We modeled out the next 3 years. And then from there, we then raised some more capital. But because we had like kind of proved the model, it's very easy to justify like a £3 or £4 million valuation, because we had a very detailed financial model, and we had proof of concept around how much people would pay and all of that sort of stuff. So we could model that forward. So that allowed me to, I think in the end we raised about, it was like 700 or 800 grand, and it was an average of about 5 million, 6 million value by the time we'd raised it.
Fantastic. And that was the first round of finance?
Yeah.
Investment.
Yep. And then we took 500, 600,000, built the product, did a bit of scaling. Where we are today is about 200,000 a month of revenue, and well over 100,000 a month of profit. And it just ticks. It's just subscription, and it's scaling at 5 to 10% per month.
Amazing.
So it's actually, we're in a scale-up phase at the moment.
So can you tell us about the ScoreApp then, and then kind of break down the journey in a little bit more detail
Sure.
of what you've just described? So how did you conceive the idea? Then what did you do about setting up the product? How did we go and raise the finance?
So in 2015-16, I wrote a book called Key Person of Influence. I did the revised edition in 2015, and I wanted to put into the book an online quiz, an online scorecard, so that when people were about to read the book, I wanted to capture their details. I wanted to get their name and email and find out what sort of business they were and how much they were, what their problems were and all that sort of stuff. So I wanted a detailed way of knowing people at scale. So we created an online scorecard, and in the book it says, before you read the book, to get the most out of this book, answer 40 questions and get a custom report that shows you, what you need to focus on. So this blew up. 90,000 of these scorecards got filled in, and the data was so rich that we made lots of sales, high conversions, and we did about £15 million worth of sales off the back of it, really quick. And basically, it was a really, really good campaign. People love filling in a quiz. It's amazing how, CEOs will fill in a quiz, and parents will fill in a quiz, and fitness people will fill in a quiz. Everyone loves a quiz. There's a quiz called 16 Personalities. I don't know if you've seen the personality test. 800 million people have filled this in, right? So it's it tells you whether you have a personality or not. No, it tells you whether you've got one of 16 different personality types. But this thing, 800 million people filled it in. So people love a quiz, right? And basically, people saw that I did 3 of these. So I did the Key Person of Influence one, the 24 Assets one, and the oversubscribed one. And they all just kept working. Every week, hundreds of people filling these things in. So this was 2015 to 2019. And then about 2019, people started cottoning on to the fact that this was a cornerstone campaign for us and that we were doing it again and again. And we had people reach out and say, hey, can I get one of those? How do you build one of those? What's the trick to doing it? So we started trying to run a little workshop on how to do this and tried to make it formulaic. So, here's how to do the landing page. Here's how to write the questions. Here's how to do the dynamic results that people get. So we kind of workshopped it with clients and then got them building quizzes as well. And then people were just yeah, this is working for us really well. So then in 2019, 2020, we started to talk about, actually, we could build the tech that this all sits on. And if people are all using that tech, then we can do data analytics built in, and we can give people a lot more data and a lot more scale and make it cheaper and make it easier for people to do. So 2020, we thought, all right, let's launch a platform, launch the ScoreApp platform. And basically, I wrote a little book, Scorecard Marketing, gave away 10,000 copies of the book, and then effectively that started the process of scaling this thing up. And then we started signing on some celebrity users like Jay Shetty and Lewis Howe and Marie Forleo. And then they started basically saying to their users, their clients and followers, this is awesome, this is a great way to generate business. So we started signing up speakers and authors, and then they would tell people this is great. And then over the last 3 years, it's grown to 3,500 subscribers.
Nice.
But what happened about 6 months ago is AI got launched, and we embedded AI into the platform, and now it's mind-blowing. So when someone wants to write a quiz, they push couple of buttons and answer 2 or 3 questions about what their business does, and then AI writes the landing page, the quiz questions, and the dynamic results. In about 5 seconds, you get over 1,000 words written, and it gets plugged into our system and coded up for you. So you literally go, get the AI to do it for me, and it takes 6 hours worth of work and does it in 6 seconds, right? So it's wild when you see that. Then when you launch your quiz and people start answering it and the data comes in, you get all this data analytics, and then in one button, we have a button that says write a blog about this piece of data. And it writes a 500-word blog about that piece of data that came in. every single person that answers the quiz, we have one button that writes a custom email to them about how they scored and what their problem is and what their solution might be. And you just push that button and it writes a 500, like a sales letter, but not just a generic sales letter, a custom sales letter, as if a copywriter had sat down, analysed their data and written a sales letter just for them.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's insane. So when people are seeing this now, they wet their pants. Like it's what's amazing is the reason we're scaling so fast at the moment is because people can't help but show their friends.
Yeah.
Like they log into this thing and go, check this out, you know. So it's got the check this out factor built into it. So we're growing at 5-10% month on month. It took us 3 years to get up to about 500 people on trial at any given time, like as in doing a free trial at any given time. And then in the last month, we've just jumped over to 1,000 plus coming in, like they're just pouring in now.
Yeah.
I remember when we had the first 24 people trialing in a day, and I thought that's cool, 1 an hour on average taking a free trial. And now, if it's less than 50 a day, I'm like, what's going on? Why is today a quiet day?
I mean, that's got to be saving businesses, 3 or 4 people in a marketing department, right? Just on its own.
I don't think it's getting rid of people, but it's certainly bringing in more customers than they've ever had. It's giving them more efficient. I don't think anyone's getting fired over this, but I do think people are getting a lot more customers. It gives them something to
I suppose looking at it on the flip side then, smaller businesses don't have to hire those people that they don't have to be able to do it if they're using your system.
Yeah, well, one of the big things that a quiz does is it tells you whether someone's worth talking to or not. So if you get 100 leads come in, for most businesses, if they've got name, email and phone number, they're going to have to respond and find out. Like let's say you're a little construction business. Someone might say, I want a big job. And it's like, oh, okay, great, let's talk about it. Oh, okay, so it's a $3,000 job, right? And you're sitting there going, like, I do 30, 40, 50 grand jobs all the time. They call it a big job, and for them, it's the biggest thing ever.
So would you use the quiz to, is the aim to kind of directly qualify the data, or are we trying to indirectly by using some form of cheeky test to qualify the data?
You can do either.
Yeah.
You can do either. So we always put what we call glass slipper questions into the quiz. So glass slipper tells you is this a Cinderella? Is it a perfect fit?
Yeah.
Right? So you might just simply say so you might have all sorts of questions, and one question might be, is your budget between 1 and 5,000, 5 and 10,000, 10,000 plus? So that might be a quiz question. And because people are going through quickly, they'll just answer it. So now you just have that piece of data. Or you might say, is the value of the property that you want to do this project with currently under $500,000 to $1 million, million plus? So something like that will help you to pinpoint what kind of client it is and whether it's worth sending an email or picking up the phone, any of those things. So lead qualification is a big part of what we do.
Amazing, good stuff. So 3 years, you've now taken it to a 20 million valuation, did you say?
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. And to be honest,
let's give him a round of applause for that, by the way, because that's a pretty impressive achievement.
Yeah. To be honest, it's funny. If someone offered me 20 million for it right now, no way.
Yeah.
We raised a little bit of money at 20. We raised 50. Someone who was a strategic investor came in and said, will you guys take 50 grand so that I'm in on it? Sure, fine. And we did that at a 20 million valuation. But if it was a full exit for 20 million, not a chance.
And how big do you see it going? What do you see
million.
the exit to look like?
100 million.
Wow.
Yeah. And it'll be 2025.
Yeah.
So it'll be from where we are today in 2025, I'd be absolutely shocked if we sell it for less than 100 million.